What's going on, guys? Plastic Beach X3 back here with another One Piece commentary video, and this time it's going to be round 2 of the Seville regionals in Spain that happened on September 27th to 28th. 27th is Swiss, 28th was Top Cut. Here we're in round 2 of Swiss. It's going to be UP Luffy on the left versus Vegapunk on the right. Interested to see the matchup. Once again, we're in the OP12 format. Last round was Calgara versus Bonnie, and now we're heading into some UP versus Vega. So it looks like Vega probably won the die roll. They tend to like to go first, going to choose to go first. Tap for leader ability, play out the Rocket Luffy, pass the turn. And then UP Luffy is just going to simply pass turn on 2. It seems like on paper, Vegapunk would have a great matchup into UP Luffy just for the multiple 6Ks, and I'm sure that was a reason why Saul decided to play the strategy going into this regional. Gonna just put 2 down under the Rocket Luffy, swing 8, fair enough. They do have a Dareshi in hand, but if they play it, they can't use their leader ability, so they are going to use Vegapunk ability just to establish this Nami. It's kind of a weak play. You want to be establishing like an Atlas or something, or at least a Pythagoras or something for a 6K swinger into the 6K leader UP Luffy, but unfortunately it looks like they just don't have a 6K. They have to straight up just play this Nami um, with no ability, unfortunately. But UP Luffy is going to swing 7 into the Rocket Luffy, going to get a 2K Frankie out of the Vegapunk player's hand, and then going to tap 3 for their Gear 2 to ramp a Dawn, go to 5 Dawn total, pass the turn. Vegapunk himself is going to go to 5 Dawn this turn. Let's see what they can do here. Looks like probably going to end up playing this Dareshi if I had to say. Going to swing 6/6 here. Going to swing 6 with the Nami first, get the Zoro out of hand, and then 6 with the Luffy. No Dawn standing for the Luffy player, so unfortunately I have to give up some counter here. And then, yep, going to play tap 3 for Dareshi, holding up a Dawn to play whatever they want off their leader ability. Looks like they're going to pick up some very good triggers here. Going to pick up a Chaka and a Vegapunk blocker. Let's see if they end up playing the Shaka or the Vegapunk blocker here. If they do end up playing the Vegapunk blocker, they have to discard a card after they play it. So it looks like they're just going to end up playing the Shaka. Pass the turn. UP Luffy's going to end up going to 7 here. They do have a Gravity. Oh no, it's not a Gravity Blade. It's a Hell's Judgment in hand. How to play into Vegapunk is a very good question. If you were wondering, I think the general way to play against it is to starve him as much as possible, and never ever swing at their life unless you've controlled board and hand size enough to justify it. But UP Luffy here is just going to swing 7 into the Nami. That's going to get it. Must not have a 2K for, I mean, and it's a 5K, so maybe you're just not incentivized to save it as much as the other cards. But also, I don't think they have a 2K. I think they just top deck that Edison, I'm pretty sure. But and then going to follow it up with a God Threat on the Shaka. And it looks like next turn, Luffy will be able to use leader ability because they ramped it down, go to 8. Back to Vegapunk here, though. Without any bodies on the field, these Namis aren't doing a ton. But if they do end up slamming a Corazon, the Nami will be pretty good. Just going to start 6 with the Luffy. And going to take it. Okay, fair enough. Even though they're holding up 2 Dawn here. Decide not to trigger whatever it was. It looked to be like a God Thread ramp trigger, but I couldn't exactly tell. Gonna tap 5 for the Vegapunk. Look at top 5, find a satellite, play it, and then discard a card. Unfortunately, if they do end up playing that Lilith, they have to discard and then search with it. And the only other target is a 5-drop Pythagoras. But gonna end up taking the Lilith and then discarding a card here. Gonna discard the 2K counter Edison and then search top 5 with the Lilith for any Egghead attributed card. Gonna take the Pythagoras. Still have a Dawn for leader ability. Could definitely just slam that Pythagoras. We have an Edison in the trash, so it is a valid target to get back off the Pythagoras. Pass the turn. Holding up a Dawn as well for the Please Save Me event. Luffy's going to go to their turn. Before they start their turn, they're going to look at top 5, search for a Straw Hat Pirate trait card. Doesn't look like they got any off of that. So it looks like they're just going to be stacking top 5 here. We see a Mihawk, a Thunder Bagua, a God Thread. Oh no, okay, so I thought it was a Thunder Bagua. It was a Gear 2, so they're going to search the Gear 2. And then decide how to stack their top 5 here. No Sanji, unfortunately, for them, which is what they probably desperately need in this situation. Gonna put 2 under their leader and then swing 8 into the Luffy. That's gonna get a block from the 0K. And then they did have a Gravity Blade. Okay, so they're gonna Gravity Blade the rest of the field, and that, besides the Lilith, of course. And that is a pretty crazy play. Puts them right back in tempo. If they end up, oh, they do have a Sanji, so they could have went Sanji Mihawk. Looks like they're gonna save the Sanji Mihawk for next turn, or maybe even slaying the 8-drop or something. Luffy, very interesting. But taking a turn off here to Gravity Blade, which is fair enough, into Vegapunk. Like I said, you just want to try and starve them as much as possible, starve them of all the resources that you can. So very, very good play, probably. Got rid of 3 bodies in one turn rather than the 1 body that you would have got up. Maybe you would have got the blocker anyway, but probably just the 1 body off of Sanji and a Mihawk play. Unfortunate, though, because the Vegapunk does have a Captain Kid in hand, so the Mihawk will not be able to bottom deck that card, because Mihawk, of course, only bottom deck 7 costs. It looks like the player is asking a judge for a question. I'm not sure what exactly that could be, but he's going to end up playing the Captain Kid, burning the last life, which is a Bon Clay, and then still have a Dawn for leader ability here. Only target, however, is the Nami if they want to play something down, or they could put the Please Save Me event into life, or they could just swing 6. And they decide not to do either. They decide to hold up the event just in case. Sorry, I'm completely. Oh, at the end of turn, he had the kid has to draw 1 trash 1 for him because his opponent is at less than 2 life. So now it's going to go back to Luffy's turn. I'm going to search top 5. I think that is a whiff, I'm pretty sure. I see a Corazon, a Mihawk, a God Thread. Hand is just a bunch of events to you. I think, depending on what you want to do here, if you're not going to play Sanji, maybe you play Sanji into a Corazon to try and filter out some cards here. But once again, not going to be able to search here. Going to put the Boggle on top right into the Corazon. So it looks like that is exactly what they're going to end up doing with this turn. Because the Mihawk isn't going to do anything except for bottom the 5k Lilith, and like you're not necessarily afraid of 5ks in this matchup as the UP Luffy player. So okay, so they're not going to play the Sanji. They're going to Red Rock the Kid. Fair enough. Fair enough. But won't be able to play a Corazon to filter at all. Just going to pass with 4 Dawn standing, no life. Must not have thought that he could live. If he goes Mihawk or Sanji Corazon, hold up 3. Just wanted to hold up the 4 and remove the body. But the Vegapunk is going to refuel their hand with this Dareshi on the Bonnie. Not a ton of people on that Bonnie. Going to search 2 trigger cards here. Going to take the 2k Edison and the blocker Shaka. Still have 7 Dawn to work with. Maybe even play the second Dareshi. But also could just establish 2 bodies. Gonna play the second Dareshi. Tap 3, look at top 5 for 2 trigger cards. Gonna go Bonnie, Edison, Pythagoras, Vegapunk, and Please Save Me. Gonna pick the Please Save Me and the Pythagoras. Probably end up playing that Pythagoras here, if I had to guess, with leader ability. And then just like swing with your Lilith to try and get at least 1 counter out of hand. Yep, so gonna swing 8 with Lilith. See what UP Luffy does here. They're gonna tap for the Gear 2. Go perfect counter with that. Of course, the Vegapunk player doesn't know that the UP player has no Gum Gum Giants in hand, so they were not going to swing 15 there. And then back to the UP Luffy. Look at the top 5. The only new card here is that Thunder Bago on the bottom, it looks like. Once again, not going to be able to search anything with these top 5, but could definitely play Mihawk into Corazon, hold up 3 Dawn. Let's see what they do, though. They're going to actually just ship them to the bottom. Fair enough. Could also went Sanji into Mihawk, tapped, or bottomed the Shaka, swing 6 into the Lilith, hold up 1. If the Lilith doesn't die, though, you're probably dead if they just go 15, if you don't have a giant. Even if you do have a giant, you'd have to have a ton of counter in hand, so just not a very good play. So let's see what they end up doing here. Gonna swing 9 into the Lilith. Gonna get it. And just got there. So they're just constantly removing the board here. Now Vegapunk cannot swing this turn. Because obviously their leader cannot swing. So pretty safe here. Maybe even would have considered putting 10 and just guaranteeing the kill on that Lilith. But it was probably dead regardless. Or sorry, swinging 11. But looks like Vegapunk is just going to tap 1 for leader ability, play out that Pythagoras. And hard play another Pythagoras into an Edison. So establishing 3 bodies here, gonna Edison, draw 2, trash 2, I believe. Atlas, not the best card right now, so you're probably gonna ditch that. It is a 6K though. And then gonna ditch a Lilith. And just gonna pass turn there, tapped out. Leader ability, yep, okay. I'm going to use leader ability, search top 5. Does find some targets here, an Usohachi, a Zorajiro, and a Sanji. Probably take the Usohachi, if I had to say. Pretty scary board for Luffy to deal with here. They've kind of been on the back burner this whole time. Haven't had time to. They do have a giant, by the way. I didn't even see that in hand. They haven't had time to establish their Sanji yet, which is not great for them. And like, if you get to 0 life, are you ever gonna summon a Sanji? Probably not, because you have to hold up so many Dawn for your counter events. And like, you just shipped 2 Corazon to the bottom, so you're not gonna be able to restand anything. Gonna end up taking the Usohachi. See what they do here. Tapping 5 for a Nami blocker, which is just absolute value for the Vegapunk player because they have that Nami in hand, I believe. They can just 1 Dawn, use leader ability, kill the Nami, draw a card, and then swing out here. Now it's a question if Luffy wants to swing, and he does. So he's going to try and swing 6 into Vegapunk. Vegapunk takes that every time, and going to trigger a Frankie blocker, or a Frankie 2K counter, and draw a card off of it. Pass a turn, draw a card for turn, and I can't imagine you're not just playing this Nami. So he's going to hard play it instead of use leader ability for it. Has 3 cards in hand, can draw a card off of it. Just super value for Vegapunk here. And just going to try and get as many cards out of hand as possible. So going to swing 6. I wonder why they didn't just use leader ability for the Nami. 6 must be playing like a Shaka, or maybe even putting the 1-drop event in life or something to play around like a Rush Luffy 8-drop or something, just in case. Yep, so they're going to put the 1-drop event in life with leader ability and pass the turn, holding up 2 Dawn. Going to go back to Luffy's turn, and all of a sudden the tides have turned to Vegapunk's favor here. I mean, to be honest, Vegapunk has kind of been on the gas this whole time, forcing the UP Luffy to use their events to clear board instead of establishing bodies. Like, literally, Luffy hasn't played a monster except for that Nami that was just popped. So now UP Luffy looking at their top 5 doesn't look like anything fantastic, but like what could it be anyway? You know, they do have a giant and an Usohachi. Gonna take that Usohachi. Gonna put the God Thread to the top to try and clear board again, but you know, without establishing any bodies, you're just constantly losing tempo over and over and over every turn. Because Vegapunk is going to keep putting up bodies no matter what. That's just what the deck does. Gonna go 6 of life here. I feel like, yeah, you just definitely 2K if you can. Just to not lose value off of your Irie Quasar help. Because they would have to replace a body. And you don't want to do that if you don't have to. So they're going to give him 2 1s so that they don't have to replace a body. And then going to play the 8-drop Luffy, holding up 2 Dawn. Going to swing 8 into the Pythagoras. Going to ditch the Edison. Ditch a God Thread. Put a Dawn under. So now it's going to be 9 into Edison. Bouncing. I don't remember what they bounced, but they bounced a 4-drop or less, presumably. And pass the turn. Only 2 Dawn standing here. So we're just going to chip away, go 6. Get a 1K counter Bonkle. Oh, they bounced the Frankie 2K to hand with the Luffy ability. And now we're going to start putting some big Dawn under our characters and swinging, demanding some event counters here. Going to go 8 into Luffy. Going to Gum Gum Giant, of course. Most broken card ever. Ditch the Thunder Bagua. Go down to 1 Dawn standing. But it has another Gum Gum Giant in hand that they top decked off of their leader ability last turn. And still safe here. I think Vegapunk's going to have to live a couple more turns, if not maybe just 1 more turn, but we'll have to see here. I'm going to go, was that 10? I can't tell. I think so. Going to go 10, ditching the Nami with the second Gum Gum Giant. Go down to 8 Dawn, or 6 Dawn total. So not going to be able to use leader ability next turn. And they need 1 more counter card. It's 10. So they're going to give him the Usohachi. And then going to use leader ability with Vegapunk to play the Rocket Luffy, pass the turn, just establish another 6K. Because there's just 0 way that you're killing Vegapunk with that Please Save Me in life. So they feel pretty safe to just establish a 6K to try and go for game next turn. UP Luffy only, going down to 4 cards in hand. Cannot use leader ability and only have 8 Dawn to work with, which means their 2 9-drops in hand are just totally invalidated. And I can't imagine that they live another turn. They have no counter events in hand. Can't use leader ability. Can't use Luffy's effect because there's no 4-drops on the field. And that Rayquaza help is just going, even if they end up somehow having a rush with only 8 Dawn on the field, it's just not going to do anything. Because they play the Chaka off the Please Save Me, block, and yeah. Even if they had 0 counter in hand, which obviously they don't. So going to go 7 into one of the 6K Pythagoras, is going to give them a 2K, and then going to go 8 into the Nami, going to let that die, of course. And I mean, just nothing to really do here. Going to pass with 7 Dawn standing. And Vegapunk should be able to seal the deal here with a 9, or sorry, a 10. No, it's 9. Interesting swing, but regardless, UP Luffy's going to concede because they don't have any cards in hand to counter out. So yeah, Vegapunk takes it. Very good matchup for Vegapunk. Exactly what you want to see whenever you play on stream is like your best matchup in the meta. but all those 6Ks just constantly rushing. I think that, you know, obviously the downfall of the UP Luffy player was that they were forced into playing multiple God Threads, into Gravity Blade, into Red Rock, just to try and keep tempo, but they weren't establishing any bodies themselves. And the one body that they actually were able to establish got Nami'd, obviously before the 8-drop Luffy came down. So just a, you know, unfortunate circumstance for the UP Luffy player, but that's probably just how the matchup goes. They had to take a lot of life early, so they couldn't establish their Sanjis. And, you know, whenever that's happening, UP Luffy really struggles, especially without their Katakuris, without their big moms nowadays. But yeah, so that's round 2 of the Seville Regional. Keep updated on the channel. Keep watching the channel for the next few rounds of Swiss. Try and push them out here soon, but regardless, GG's to those guys. Make sure to subscribe to Plastic Beach X3 for more One Piece videos, and peace out.